Finally, my friends, the first spoilers for Chapter 4 of the Heavens Saga have been released. And I'll tell you right now that one of the theories here on the channel has become reality in this new chapter. Athena gains a powerful ally, a goddess who sends her most powerful servant to protect Athena from Kur's attacks. Hello, Knights of Amazonas. Welcome to another epic video here on the Sempre Quis Saber channel. I'm Wes, and in today's video, we're going to analyze all the details and revelations that were released in the first spoilers of the new chapter of the Saint Seiya Heaven Saga. Are you curious? So go ahead and comment what you think about this final saga that's being published in Japan. And of course, click like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. To start, it's important to remember that the highly anticipated fourth chapter of the Sky Saga is scheduled to be officially released in Japan on June 3, 2026. That's why we'll only have access to the full chapter's pages on that day. However, since the world of leaks never stops, some lucky people have already had early access to the magazine and have released some hot information about what happened in this new chapter. And the information is as follows. The title of this chapter 4 has been revealed. It's called The Intermediate Awakening, and the first scene starts off overwhelmingly, picking up where Chapter 3 left off, where the spirit of Eurus talks to Seiya and tells him to remember that he is the Pegasus Knight who protects Athena. And suddenly, the image of the Pegasus constellation appears, shining brightly on Seiya's body, representing his cosmos as it begins to boil over. Apparently, Seiya is awakening his powers again, and the peaceful life he was living is about to change direction. In this new chapter, Seiya's cosmos not only awakens, but enters a complete state of boiling, burning intensely, just like it did in the toughest battles he faced. In the midst of this whirlwind of revelations, Seiya and Xion are still completely confused about what is happening. They still haven't recovered any of their memories, and that's why their minds are clouded, unable to understand who they really are. It is in this moment of chaos that Saori intervenes with her sweet voice and gentle Cosmo. She looks into the eyes of her loyal knights and gives unexpected advice. She asks for Seiya and Xion to go back home, not to think about anything they saw there, and from that moment on, to continue living a peaceful, calm, and normal life. Apparently at that moment, Athena once again has a memory lapse and decides to protect her knights from the cruel reality, wishing that they continue without knowing who she is and what her mission is, thus keeping Seiya and Xion away from the holy wars. However, the calm doesn't last long. A new enemy appears before them, the mysterious specter Jeanne of Orthros, who is in the service of the goddess Kur. As we know, Jeanne awakened the skeleton specters and ordered them to attack Athena in the previous chapters. But seeing that his subordinates failed in their mission, he decides to take advantage of that moment himself to take the life of the goddess Athena. Noticing the goddess's guard down, Jeanne aims an arrow directly at Saori's heart. So far, we don't know what this arrow looks like. It could be that Jeanne stole the powerful arrow of the goddess, which was in the ruins of the house of Ophiuchus, and is capable of sealing in Tartarus the soul of anyone struck by it. This is the same arrow that defeated the 13th gold saint, Asclepius, and also sealed the soul of Chagall of Wyvern, who was one of the judges of the underworld in the Next Dimension Saga. However, this arrow used by Jeanne could also be a new artifact from the underworld, but we'll only know the truth when the full chapter, with all the images, is released. Sensing the danger, Seiya's protective instinct speaks louder. Seeing that the girl was in the specter's sights, the Pegasus Knight throws himself in front of the danger, using his own body as a human shield to protect Saori. At that moment, Jeanne fires the arrow, but the unbelievable happens. For some mystical and mysterious reason, the arrow fired by Jeanne freezes in midair. It stops abruptly just a few centimeters from hitting Seiya's chest, floating as if time itself around that attack had been interrupted. This event is very similar to the scene where Sagittarius Gestalt shoots the goddess's arrow at Athena in the Next Dimension Saga. On that occasion, the arrow is also frozen in the air, and that's why I believe that the arrow in Chapter 4 could also be the goddess's arrow. And taking advantage of the opportunity, Saori makes a surprising move. She voluntarily puts herself in front of Jeanne de Orthros, faces the enemy, and says, loud and clear, "Kill me." Here, my friends, Saori goes back to being the same reckless goddess as always. I really hope that in the official chapter, this scene has a completely different context. That's because in the mini-opening saga for the Heaven Saga Sansei Aden, Saori gets a lecture from the spirit of Ioris, who reminds her that her mission is to protect the Earth and humanity. Athena then decides to face the gods of Olympus alone, and this left many fans surprised, believing that Athena had finally matured. However, now with the scene from Chapter 4 of the Heaven Saga, it seems that Athena once again wants to sacrifice herself at the first opportunity, and on top of that, give her life to just any specter. And that's why I really hope there will be better context about this event when the official chapter comes out. But continuing, Jean hesitates for a brief second. But when he tries to proceed with the execution, he is directly bombarded by Athena's divine cosmos, which emanates from Saori's body. The energy is so overwhelming that the warrior Jean simply collapses, falling defeated to the ground before the power of the goddess Athena. This part brings us relief, showing that Athena is regaining her powers and that she won't be defeated by just any enemy. After this moment, we are taken to the kingdom of heaven, more precisely to the Temple of the Moon, which is located on Mount Olympus. There, the goddess of the moon, Artemis, is in her chambers, listening to a troubling report brought by her commander, Acalisto. The news coming from Earth and the underworld is alarming. She says that Hades' army is showing clear signs of resurgence. Furthermore, Acalisto reveals that Saori has been experiencing repeated partial awakenings of her divine Athena cosmos. Hearing this, Artemis makes a surprising decision, but we here on the channel have been theorizing about this for a while. To prevent Athena from fully awakening and causing a new war of catastrophic proportions, the goddess of the moon formally orders Acalisto to descend to Earth to protect Saori, but with one condition. This protection must be carried out directly from the shadows, without the goddess of the Earth noticing Artemis's interference. And guys, I've been talking about this here on the channel for a long time. Just as we imagined, Artemis is an ally of Athena. She doesn't want her younger sister to die, but she also avoids confronting the other gods directly. So, the moon goddess sends her strongest servant instead. She doesn't face the gods there.
Sem que ninguém perceba.
However, Acalisto, since the Next Dimension Saga, despite being very loyal to Artemis, ends up on her own, taking drastic measures to protect her goddess. As we know, it was Acalisto who sent Toma the Angel of Sleep to kill Seiya while Athena was in the past. However, I believe that on this occasion, Acalisto will really protect the goddess Athena. After all, she wouldn't have the courage to attack a goddess and go directly against Athena. At the end of the chapter, we are taken back to Earth. The focus returns to our beloved bronze saints. Seiya and Shun end up fainting due to the physical and mental exhaustion caused by the shock of Saori's cosmos, which knocked them out without them noticing. Sometime later, the two slowly wake up, looking around and searching for that girl who was there. However, to their despair, the place is completely deserted, and Saori and the specter of Andiorthros have disappeared without leaving a single trace behind. Here again, the real mystery comes in. Did the evil goddess Kerr get there before Callisto and imprison Athena? Or did some other character intervene at that moment? There are many possibilities. We know that Apollo is also closely watching his sister Athena. He was even flying over the sanctuary when she partially awakened her Cosmo for the first time in the house of Sagittarius. So Apollo may have appeared again and rescued Saori. Callisto could also have arrived there and taken Athena to a safe place. But I don't think there would have been enough time for that since we just saw her receiving Artemis's orders. And the most unlikely theory, but the coolest in my opinion, is that Phoenix Ikki has already regained his memories and rescued Saori after she awakened her Cosmo and fainted. As we know, Ikki is the bronze saint with the most powerful mental control of all, even having the Phantom Fist technique, a phoenix which strikes directly at the opponent's mind. With this, he may have been the first to awaken completely, and since he wants his brother Shun and the other bronze saints to live happy and normal lives, he probably decided to protect Athena alone from the shadows. And Ikki was probably just waiting for the right moment to rescue Saori and protect her. But what about you? What did you think of the spoilers from this chapter? Comment below so I can know, was it really Ikki who saved her? Leave your theories in the comments, and of course, thank you for watching this video until the end, and see you next time. Burn your Cosmo to infinity.